All right, folks, welcome back. This is Downtown Lakers. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Ethan Shirazi. You can find him over at Ethan Shirazi24. You can follow me at JK Bogan. Today, we're talking about none other than the Los Angeles Lakers that are one game away from clinching the third spot in the West. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about pretty much recap what has gone on, since the last time we left you. There's a lot more panic in the air, I think, the last episode, I would say, Ethan. So, this one feels a little bit better to record and go live. So, I'm excited to be here. Obviously excited to be talking Laker basketball with you. And tonight, it sounds like, obviously, you can never guarantee anything, but you just sent me Adam Wexler, at Adam Wexler on Twitter, Rockets injury stats report versus Lakers tonight. Dylan Brooks out, Tari Eason out, Alperen Sengun out, Jabari Smith Jr. out, Sean Tate
pretty much
out.
Everyone's out for the Rockets. Pretty much, the whole rotation's out. So, don't expect Lakers to have like an easy win like we all think, but this Rocket team is going to come out and try to knock us off, our foot a little bit, but I believe our team can get a W tonight and rest our players on Sunday so we can lock in that third seed tonight, man. So we can get preparing for the playoffs next week and then get going, man.
Yeah. So we're going to get into it. Let's start off. Let's go back a ways. Lakers, Mavericks, right? 112-97. Luka returns to Dallas, and you have everybody in Dallas chanting for this guy. I mean, it had to have been a little bit weird as a Mavericks fan because, it actually kind of reminded me just from my Rams fan background, rooting for Kurt Warner, knowing that the Rams weren't going anywhere and he was on Arizona and they needed a win. I rooted for Kurt Warner like that. Absolutely. So I get it. I do. It had to have been weird, but I really feel for Luka, and he's in the best spot possible. So he drops 45 in his return, just absolute stellar performance. What were your thoughts? What were your takeaways from that game?
Man, that atmosphere was absolutely crazy. I mean, to have a player just get traded out of nowhere, where the city of Dallas absolutely loved the guy, and then coming back to Dallas with that crazy, really beautiful tribute video that he had with tears coming from his eyes. I mean, there's nothing to say about Dallas loving the guy. I mean, for him to come back, score 45 points against his former team as a Los Angeles Laker, I believe that day he officially became a Laker. He became a Laker and he really embraced his role of being a Laker. And then, yeah, dude, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it was a big performance for him, big time moment. I think we all kind of expected it. I know a lot of people were betting on him to score. What was that, like 35 points? It was. He had 31 at halftime. Yeah. He cooled down a little bit, only had 45. But no, it was really cool. I mean, Dirk was there and just, all the Mavericks fans that were cheering for him. And again, like the Mavericks, they're going to be in the play-in, so their season doesn't end, but it was pretty big. And I give Dallas fans a lot of credit. And I give the Lakers teammates a lot of credit, the way they really kind of embraced Luka right from the get-go, but especially in this game, one that he was very emotional in, and rightfully so. I want to get to the comments here. Otto, who's a big-time viewer of our show and a good friend of mine. Hopefully they play Luka and the guys, get a big lead, sit them end of fourth, and next game, plenty of needed rest. That's true. And that's the good thing. I mean, it should be Bronny James territory the last game of the year. Win this game tonight. You can't move up any higher, right? So this is really... win this game tonight and you can rest that last game of the year, which I think would be best for the Lakers, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, for us to hopefully get like a good enough lead, at least 30 points, hopefully 30 points, so we can rest the guys second half and also Sunday, so we can let Bronny and other rookies like show out a little bit, and then have another week of rest until we get to play whoever will be playing in the first round. So that'll be decided until Sunday who we play, either Nuggets, Warriors, Grizzlies, Team
It's wild.
It's wild, man. I mean, so many options. So we're just going to have to find it on Sunday, folks. So
2 games left, and the Lakers could play 2 of the, well, you have 4 through 8, right? So you have 5 teams that the Lakers could play in the first round. One of them being a team that they have historically had bad matchups with. They were swept in the playoffs by the Denver Nuggets, who just surprisingly fired their coach not long after winning it all.
Alone, man. Crazy.
You had mentioned to me, throughout the week, texting me, they could play the LA Clippers, which has never happened before in the playoffs. Right. So that's a big thing. Then you got Golden State, who you and I would both agree that's probably the best team out of these 5. Then you have 100%. Memphis, right? And Memphis just fired their coach, and they're kind of weird right now. So, a team that is good on the road, to be fair, and so is Golden State, and so are the Timberwolves, who have a superstar in Anthony Edwards, who could maybe take over a game or 2. So that becomes interesting. So definitely some interesting matchups there. And of course, who's to say they can't play the Kings or the Mavericks? They could absolutely do that. My money isn't on that. They're the weakest of the teams in the playoffs or play-in.
Happen, bro. I mean, the Heat, we're in the play-in just 2 years ago, made the NBA Finals, but lost to Denver. But anything can happen. But I wouldn't bet my money on that. But if I had to pick, I would probably say either the Warriors or the Nuggets. Probably our first matchup of the playoffs. So, yeah.
We got a nice little Kurt shout out there. I agree with you there.
Okay, there you go.
Otto agreed. Ethan Luka is officially a Laker. Everyone can move on and get his extension done ASAP. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
We'll see when that happens. I would probably say after the season in all likelihood, but we'll see. We got BC saying go Lakers. Shout out to BC. Falco, right. Lakers winning this game tonight is massive for playoff seeding. Hope we can pull it off against a good Houston team. Well, luckily, Falco, it does appear that they're not going to be as good tonight because they have pretty much everyone and their mother sitting out, which, by the way, included Amen Thompson and Fred VanVleet. So that list just kept going on and on and on. So that's a lot. Then you have BC. No team has won a title with more than 30 losses since 1995 Rockets. That is crazy when you think about it. So that means, based on this judgment here, the only teams that can win a title based on this are the Thunder, the Rockets, the Celtics, and the Cavaliers. That's it. So based on that, if history repeats itself, those are the only teams. You might as well not even turn on the NBA Finals. No, I'm kidding. But interesting. That's a good, knowledge nugget there. Memphis, lots of travel, borderline East Coast team. That's true. They travel a lot, and they do, they win a lot of those road games. And then what team do you guys not want to play in round 1? I mean, I really don't care who they play. I think if I have to decide, it's Golden State.
I mean, look, I think we can beat anybody, but in terms of just matchup, I mean, we've seen it for the last few years. It's been Denver. We've had bad matchups against them, especially with our small ball lineups and whatnot. But I think we beat anybody. But if I were to pick, probably Denver. Golden State will probably easier just because they're more of a height. We've proved we were able to beat them every year. We were 3-1 against them this season. So yeah, probably Denver.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Right now, it just seems like they're in shambles. I mean, one of their key players, Russell Westbrook, no one knows what's happening there. It seems like a lot of the players don't want him getting involved late in games. They want to get the young kid, Jalen Pickett, involved, and Adelman doesn't like him. And it's just,
I mean,
those
we
teams
tried
do not win.
Experiment in LA, man. I mean, when Westbrook was here, it was just all downhill, but he's just not the same player, but I understand why they're trying to avoid him there, but still Denver, in my opinion. Doesn't matter who's coaching.
That's true. Luka's future teammate after LeBron retires, Matthew asks. Great question, by the way. I don't even know. I don't subscribe to Jokic. I think Jokic is a lifer in Denver.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we thought about Luka, but management changed. Diego Harrison stepped up as a GM and traded him to Dallas, to LA. So I mean, anything can happen. But in my opinion, I think Jokic's probably staying in LA. There's no way. I mean, Denver. There's no way he's going to come to LA.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I kind of always thought there could be a potential of Anthony Edwards coming to the Lakers someday. I kind of saw him as an LA type of guy. maybe Giannis. I hate doing that, but post LeBron, it basically, this is what I would say, Matthew. Post LeBron, it opens up the door for anything. It really does. That's a huge contract off the books. But also understand you don't have LeBron James anymore post LeBron. So it's not as easy as like, oh yeah, we have all this money. It's like, well, you no longer have LeBron. So I'm trying to enjoy him for as long as the Lakers have him. Falco has Denver feels more beatable than in years past, firing Malone and Booth and a lot of dysfunction.
Band.
Yeah, I cannot. Dysfunction. My mouth just wasn't moving there. Happening in Denver. I agree. That's not good.
I agree as well.
It's not conducive to winning basketball come playoff time. I can tell you that.
I agree. Just because, if you watch Denver this season, they're just not the same team as the last few years. Like chemistry's still good. Just the way that they're playing is not the same. And then obviously that led into them firing Mike Malone.
Yeah. I've always thought Jokic or Giannis. Yeah. Giannis, I could see. One. Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards. I could see Trae Young. I could. Well, I could have seen him more before Luka. That'd be funny if the two played because they were traded basically for each other. I don't know. Maybe get like a wing.
I think Giannis has a more chance just because Jokic is like, Jokic. He's probably gonna be a lifetime in Denver.
Yeah,
the guy just signed like a supermax last season, I believe. So he's there for a while.
And Falco is coming back to correct its mismanagement. Okay. To be fair, I didn't know. Maybe he knew of a word that I didn't. So I was like, oh, I don't know what even that is. So
twist my tongue a little bit there.
Yeah. So appreciate you, Falco. So all right, Lakers have clinched a top 6 seed though. That's what we know right now.
Yep, no plan.
So
we're the play-in for the first time since 2021.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Last time we played, actually the first time we played in the play-in was like the year we were defending our title against the Warriors when LeBron made that like long shot at close to the end of the game that led us beating the Warriors, and then played the Suns, lost that series. But first time ever since. So now we're able to rest and get ready to play, get prepared. So huge there.
Yeah, that was big. I didn't even think about that until you sent it to me. The Lakers literally have not been in the playoffs since 2021. Like they have, but they have had to play in the play-in.
Yeah, right. And then 2022, we missed the playoffs because of that really bad roster we had. But other than that, yeah, we just played in the play-in and then got 7th seed every single year, and that's it.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. Otto says I'm on board with Miles Turner. I do think he'd be a good fit. I still think the best fit is probably Mark Williams, if I'm being honest with you. It's just, he's not here because,
I think at some point he'll probably come back to the Lakers either as a trade or just like a free agent acquisition. But Miles Turner will be nice because he can spread the floor, obviously play defense, get in the paint. But I hope it's a big man when LeBron retires.
Yeah, I guess we'll see where basketball is at that point because it's weird. It's like, it's really dictated on college. Are there any big men coming out? Like, if they're not, well, like right now, Cooper Flagg, you would call him a big man. He's a power forward, but it's going to be dependent on that, I think. If we start seeing a trend with, okay, now it's combo guards again that shoot like Steph Curry, that's probably going to dominate the NBA. But if we start seeing a trend with more Cooper Flagg level players that play, power forward and center, then it might start trending that way. It kind of happened with Joel Embiid, right? Really it was leaning towards a wing dominated league, like a LeBron athleticism focused wing league that could, shoot, but not on the level of Curry. And then Joel Embiid came through and it's like, okay, well now I guess center matters again, And so I think that's the thing is that centers mattered way more back in the day. They still matter, but when you have centers that are shooting threes and stuff, it definitely does kind of change the game.
Big ton.
It does.
Look, this season we've seen multiple teams play like small ball lineups, just like this year with the Lakers, but yeah, it definitely has changed.
Taze bites back on the Lakers being the top team in the West heading into the playoffs. In my opinion, the Lakers are definitely not the top team. OKC is no doubt the best, but they are still great. That doesn't mean they will make it far with how competitive the West is. I'm going to be honest with you. I totally understand where you're coming from. My biggest thing is I do not think OKC matches up well at all against LA. And we will get into that because there was a perfect segue, by the way, questionable ejection, if I've ever seen one, where Luka was arguing with a fan or speaking with a fan and he gets thrown out of the game. And at this point, it's like 107, 106. Lakers are, really kind of taking over the game at this point in time, and after a run, and this just killed everything. All the momentum was gone.
I mean, and the game is literally in our hands in that specific moment. Like Luka just made a turnaround floater. He's feeling good about himself, and I heard a fan see something in the crowd. He's just clapping back at him, and all of a sudden the ref is like, "Oh, talk to me. All right, you're out of here." But I mean, for Dictator to do that just is unacceptable, man. I mean, like me and Jake talked before, the show. I think that was pretty much like all about the money, like Vegas. If you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's just terrible. But and then
wasn't a good look.
It wasn't good luck at all. And the next day, NBA announced that it was rescinded the technical foul, and they saw that it was a mistake. So I mean, yeah, it's just ridiculous. But you just gotta move on, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a tough one though, and this is where you're like, man, the refs can control the games, but when you get into a 7-game series, I mean, the refs can't control a 7-game series, right? I mean, and that's kind of my thing. The first game against OKC this year, or the first game of this like 2-game set that they had, that was really bizarre, by the way, to play in OKC back to back, but like on and off day in between. Right. They showed you. I mean, when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, if he can't get to the line, they don't win.
Right.
So, like, the Lakers did a great job. They had a great game plan, and that's what I expect. So, I think really what it comes down to is I do think the Lakers are the best team in the West. I think they have severe issues, but I think those severe issues are most often exposed against weaker teams, which is when they play against the better teams. That's when I think you get your best game out of them. And that's why in a 7-game series, I just think they're going to be really hard to beat. I think in the West, they should be considered the favorite. Just how hot that they've been, since making the Luka deal and everything. I understand they had a losing streak here and there. They also won 8 straight, and they've shown the capability to win late in games. And they got 3 guys that they trust to put the ball in their hands and win late in games. I mean, you look at Austin Reeves, I would argue he's probably the more clutch guy late in games than any of those two. And that's crazy because Luka was known for being clutch last year in the playoffs alone. So that's wild. But kind of looking at it from the standpoint of, the West, I mean, I guess you could look at, Golden State. You have the playoff, the championship pedigree is there. Jimmy Butler has a lot of experience. And then, of course, you have Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And that becomes a little intriguing there. Plus, Steve Kerr has won it before. He knows what it takes. Right. But aside from that, I just don't really think with Malone gone, you don't really have any of that experience anywhere else. I mean, it's really just Golden State. And the Lakers have the experience with player-wise. You could argue, okay, we haven't seen JJ Redick, coach in the playoffs. I don't think he's going to be any different. I think he's going to be up for the challenge. So, yeah, man, I think when you look at it, it's really those two teams. I'm not worried about the Thunder. I've watched this Lakers team play the Thunder, and I just don't feel like the Thunder match up well at all.
Right. I mean, the last few seasons we've pretty much played really good against them, except for the first 2 games of the season against them. But other than that, I think we're really good against them. Like you guys seen, if once we play them two games in a row in Oklahoma City, that had a hard time matching them against us. Like it was easy to pick and roll, easy to drive to the basket, draw fouls, and especially not getting shot to the line. That's a huge plus right there. So if you can continue to do that in the playoffs, if we actually do see them in the playoffs, then that'll be a big plus. And I think we will win at least 6 games against that team.
Yeah, and Matthew asks, you boys going to keep this a Laker channel strictly, or are you going to talk about the Dodgers?
Oh, Lakers, man.
Yeah, this is all Lakers, man. Downtown Lakers is all Lakers.
If you're trying to see Rams, you can go on Jake's channel, man. He has Downtown Rams. They got the your other shows.
Yeah, exactly. I got Downtown Rams tonight with Alexis Kraft. So,
That's right.
yeah, we got plenty of Rams content over on my channel, which is Jake Ellenbogen, shameless plug. I don't have any Dodgers content. I don't know if you do, Ethan, but I don't.
Only on Twitter, but not a podcast yet. But I plan to also in the future.
I like that. So yeah, there you go, Matthew. You'll soon be able to have a Dodgers hangout there. But glad we answered that one there. Mark Williams is great, but he's too injury prone. That I agree with.
That's true, but at the same time, like I think he played like every single game of the season ever since that recent trade happened, right? I think he played like every game he was playing pretty good, but
you're saying that trade woke him up and was like, oh crap, I gotta get my act together.
It had to have. I mean, he probably got pissed off, like, oh shoot, I probably have to, lock in and play so he can sign me next year or something. But
yeah. Otto says, I think LA in 6 versus OKC. I don't even know if that's going to be the Western Conference Finals. Like, if I'm being honest with you, because I mean, think about it. Let's just look at right now. What would that look like? You got the Thunder playing the winner, like the lowest seed, the second winner of the play-in. Play-in is stupid.
Yeah. I don't like really it either. Tough. But the NBA's ratings have been going down, so they have to find some way to get the fans more into it and more ways to make it more competitive. But it is what it is. It's the day and age.
The Thunder, let's just say the Thunder play the Timberwolves, the Rockets play the Grizzlies, the Lakers play the Warriors, and then the Nuggets and Clippers. So in that sense, I would take the Thunder to beat the Grizzlies, or Thunder to take beat the Timberwolves. I take the Rockets to beat the Grizzlies, the Lakers to beat the Warriors, and then I take the Clippers to beat the Nuggets. So that would leave, since it's almost chalk, the Thunder would play the worst seed remaining, which would be the Clippers. And then the Lakers would play the Rockets.
Right.
So, and that's how
a lot of scenarios,
get, by the way. See, that's what people don't understand. This thing flies by.
Especially in the Western Conference. I mean, the Eastern Conference has nothing to worry about. Everything is so spread out, but the West every year is just so close. Like, we saw seeds 3 through 8 with like, what was it, like a game or like a game and a half separation. Absolutely bonkers, man. I mean, so we got today and Sunday to see what's up with that.
Taze likes bowl. That's an interesting one. Thunder are 29-1 in the East, or versus the East, but it's 37-13 versus the West. Still great, but yeah, you can tell they're beating up on some squash. BC, too bad they won't get to the finals, or they'd obliterate the lowly East. I don't know, because I think the Celtics could beat them in a 7-game series. Yeah, so I mean, because the thing about the Celtics, by the way, they have not lost double-digit games on the road. There is not one team, except for the Thunder, that can say that in the West, or just at all. So the Celtics, I know the Cavs have the 2 seed, or the 1 seed, and the Celtics have the 2. I think the Celtics are a better team than the Cavs.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I hate to say it, but they are. Like,
yeah.
If it was Cavs and Boston in like 7-game series, I think Boston would probably beat them in 5 minimum.
I do agree with that.
They have like a lot of length, a lot of really good superstars like Brown and Tatum, and they have experienced world champions. I hate to say that, but yeah, I think Boston comes out of the East, and also Pacers are another big team that people are forgetting about that can possibly beat the Celtics. So
yeah, and then Lakers are 14-16 against the East. BC says so. All right, well let's talk about it. So the Nuggets and the Grizzlies fired their head coaches. What do you think about that?
I think it's surprising, just because first was Grizzlies that they were in top first seed in the West and they're really good. All of a sudden they fired Taylor Jenkins out of nowhere, which is pretty surprising for the whole league to react to that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe something happened backstage, that something happened with the coaches or the players. Someone didn't agree with anything that they're saying. I don't know, but Denver was probably the most surprising one, just because Mike Malone was like a phenomenal coach in Denver. They had really good relationships with the players, and also the funny thing is that Kroenke is the owner of the Nuggets, also the Rams, so he probably made the decision, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, we'll see what happens if Denver will collapse in the playoffs or not. But I still believe that they're a threat.
Yeah, they're definitely still a threat because they got a guy who steps up in a big way when they need him from the shooting perspective in Murray, but also they got Jokic, and I think the thing with the Nuggets that's it's shocking, but when you think about it, the Lakers kind of did the same thing with Vogel.
Right.
Is that you fire a guy that won it all. I think it just kind of goes to show you where the NBA is right now. And to be a head coach in the NBA, like just winning finals doesn't guarantee anything, which it's weird, but it just doesn't guarantee anything. And so,
right. I mean, you pretty much get hired to get fired. That's the whole thing of it.
And then the Grizzlies, I mean, I just don't see the point, because I know this happens, and I want to make this very clear because not everybody knows this, but I know this happens in the NHL. And as a matter of fact, it's worked out well in the NHL for teams that fire their coach mid-season. But we are talking about firing a coach right before the playoffs. It just comes off as a reckless thing, in my opinion.
Crazy. Yeah.
Like very reckless.
Right. I mean, if you're trying to fire a coach, just wait to see what happens in the playoffs. If you guys lose, and if you want to let him go after the playoffs, but not just 4 games before the playoffs. I mean, your team is like right there. So I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah, it's definitely stuff in the back end.
Yeah.
So let's talk about tonight. Do you think the Lakers pull it off? Because I do.
Absolutely. I mean, with all these players out, there's no question in my mind they'll take care of business and secure the third seed, and we'll get a home court advantage for the first time in a long time since 2011. So we'll get home court advantage for the first and second round if we make it that far, which we probably will, in my opinion. So that's big for us, and just because Lakers have a phenomenal home record, as you guys know, throughout the season. So it's big for the team to have home court advantage. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I do expect them to win the game as well. And then I expect to see a lot of Bronny James. I expect to see a lot of the bottom of the lineup, get a lot of playing time. LeBron, Luka, Reeves, they're all going to be out that last game, which I think makes sense. Unless you want to play him a quarter, whatever. But my big thing is, what do you really have to gain from that? And that's my thing, is that I understand not wanting them to beat, but it's like you have it guaranteed as long as they get through tonight. These guys are going to be ready to go in the playoffs. They're not going to be injured.
Absolutely.
If you play them even a quarter, you're rolling the dice, in my opinion. And I just don't feel like there's a lot to gain from playing them a quarter.
Yeah, I mean, we first got to blow the Houston Rockets out of the water first. So we can, get those players out early and let the young guys play a little bit, so we can have extra rest on top of Sunday, and then the next week so we can prepare for whoever we're playing against. So, Jake, who are your potential playoff matchups? I know we talked about this, but since we're pretty much a week out, would you say that we'll most likely play, depending on the standings?
Well, I don't expect the Warriors to stay as the 6th seed. I just think they're too good, to be honest with you. So I think they do take care of business to wrap this season up. I mean, they got 2 more games against Portland and LA. That LA game, and I'm not talking about the Lakers, I'm talking about the Clippers. That game, they'll beat Portland, so that would put them 18 games back, which would basically put them in a virtual tie with the Nuggets and Clippers. However, that Clippers game decides, because that would be the tiebreaker, if I'm not mistaken. And no, the Clippers would have the tiebreaker. So if they do tie, the Clippers have the tiebreaker because the Clippers have swept the season series thus far. But if the Clippers, obviously, they have to tie to have a tiebreaker. If they lose to the Kings tonight and lose to the Warriors, well, the Warriors are going to have a higher seed than them. And that's the thing. So the Warriors win the next 2, Clippers, lose the next 2. Warriors stick right in there as the 4 seed. So they would jump past the Clippers, and I believe they would jump past the Nuggets. The Nuggets have the Grizzlies. That's interesting. It seems like a lot of these teams are playing each other. The Lakers are also, of course, playing the Rockets. So here's the thing. The Nuggets have the Grizzlies and Rockets. Now, that's interesting because it's teams that fire their coaches playing each other. And then the Rockets, it's like, are you even going to play your guys at that point? Probably not, right? You have the 2 seed locked in. So that becomes interesting. What do you see there? I think when you look at, that schedule, or excuse me, you look at the standings, I think we're looking at probably the Lakers and I will say Clippers. I think it's going to be Lakers.
That'll be crazy.
Yeah, because I think the Clippers are going to lose those two. I think the Warriors are going to win those two. And so it'll be Clippers. And I think the Nuggets will at least win the Rockets game. So we're looking at the Nuggets getting... The Nuggets would have the 4 seed. The Warriors would have the 5. And the Clippers would have the 6. So the Lakers would play the Clippers. And the Nuggets would play the Warriors. So that leaves up, the door open for a potential Lakers Nuggets or Lakers Warriors matchup down the road in the playoffs. I still think right now my money is on either the Warriors or Thunder playing the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
I agree. I agree. Because, those teams are probably like the most capable to get, that far in the Western Conference, just because, they've had a crazy run in the last, half of the season. So I definitely agree with that. And also, just, like I said before the show, according to playoff status on Twitter, the Denver Nuggets are the most likely team to get the 6th seed, resulting in the 3rd matchup in a row. So, I think I sent you the chart on your phone, but the Nuggets, they have a 27% chance to get the 6th seed. Clippers 17%, 20% for the Warriors, 6% for T-Wolves, 18% for the Grizzlies. So depending on how it ends up, it can be a Lakers and Nuggets matchup once again. But yeah, time will tell. We'll see what happens on Sunday.
That's what it's funny. The numbers suggest the Nuggets are either going to be, they have more of a chance of being the 4 seed, the 6 seed, and the 7 seed than the 5 seed. That's so random. But that's just the way it works out with the tiebreaker. The Clippers have a 39% chance of holding on to the 5 seed, and they have a 17% chance of the 6. Now, the Timberwolves are interesting here because the Timberwolves have a 43% chance of grabbing the 4 seed.
Right.
So that the fact that that's even the case is still wild to me.
If that happens, then they have to win out, which is like last 2 games, and whoever's in front of them. Let's do the standings here. So in front of the T-Wolves, Memphis and Warriors would have to probably lose their games, and the Clippers have to win one or something like that. But it's confusing. But anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Oh yeah, the Timberwolves have the Jazz and Nets. So
yeah. So it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna take back what I said because the Timberwolves are gonna win those games, and that would put them at 49 and 33. And then the Grizzlies, I think they lose both Denver and Dallas. The Grizzlies are a mess right now. They've lost 4 of their last 10, last night, 6 of the last 10. Timberwolves have won 7 of the last 10. So the T-Wolves are on a run.
Really good run. Yeah.
So I think they win 49, 49 and 33. I think the Grizzlies go 47 and 35. So they're locked in already with one of the 8 spots, but they would be the 8th one. So if the Timberwolves win the next 2, and I have the Grizzlies losing the next 2, so the Grizzlies locked in at 8. Now, the Warriors I have winning the next 2, so they would be 49 and 33 as well as the Timberwolves. And then the Clippers, since I have them actually losing the next 2, because they've been on a tear, and I just think that, I think I'll give them the Sacramento game and have them losing to Golden State. That's what I'll do. So also 49 and 33, but they have the tiebreaker of the Warriors. So that's really interesting to me. And then I need to see if the Timberwolves, because that would be a 3-way tiebreaker, 49-33. We're looking at 3 teams.
Just looking at the tiebreakers, it's massive that we have a tiebreaker over the Denver Nuggets, Clippers, Warriors, Memphis. So, if we didn't have any tiebreakers over that, then it would probably be a play-in team. So that's massive for us to have that. So we stay in the 3rd seed and get the win tonight.
So the Nuggets, I have them beating Memphis and then beating the Rockets. So the Nuggets would win 50. So then, okay. So this is how I have it then. The Lakers have the 3 seed. The Nuggets have the 4 seed, which is the way it stands right now. Then there is a 3-way tie between the Timberwolves, Warriors, and Clippers. Okay. The Clippers, I have to check on what the tiebreaker is against the Timberwolves. Because that, of course, that matters. We know that they beat the Warriors tiebreaker. We know that.
Yep.
But do they have the tiebreaker against Minnesota? That I'm trying to find. So Minnesota owns the tiebreaker. They swept the Clippers on the season. So then what are we looking at when it comes to the Warriors, right? Do the Warriors have the tiebreaker against Minnesota, or does Minnesota outright have the tiebreaker? And so that is where it becomes interesting, because Golden State has the tiebreaker. So they have a 3-1 lead. So how do you break a 3-way tie?
Dude, this is absolutely a madness. I mean, so many scenarios to happen. So I don't know, man.
I'm gonna look it up right now. So we learned something.
Yeah.
How to break a 3-way tie in the NBA playoff standings. Because I honestly don't know. A tie involving 3 or more teams is broken by comparing the teams' records against one another. So first is head-to-head record against the tied teams, then division record if the teams are in the same division, finally conference record. Okay, so the head-to-head record, then division record, then finally conference record. So what would that look like? It's really interesting how this works, because
really interesting. Just because there's so many like things that can happen, and then all of a sudden like something changes. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot going on at that point, because it's like, all right, well, let's see. So if we look,
so looking at the T-Wolves tiebreaker against who? Are we talking about the 3-way tie?
All right, cool. So I'm on playoff predictors right now.
Yeah.
Right. So if we give this last game here, our last 2 games. So Western, we got the Nuggets beating the Grizzlies. We got the Thunder beating the Jazz. Not that matters. Warriors beat the Trailblazers. Clippers beat the Kings. And then we got the Warriors beating the Clippers. Lakers beating the Rockets. Nuggets beating the Rockets. So let's see what we got here. Timberwolves. I'm putting it all into this little computer thing. And then
which side are you on right now?
Playoff predictors.
Playoff predictors. Never heard that one before.
Yeah, it's big on the NFL. Like if you're predicting like the NFL season and stuff. So
okay.
Yeah, I didn't know they had an NBA one until I looked.
That's dope.
Yeah. So okay. Let's see here.
Want to share your screen so the viewers can see it, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And actually, I think I already just did it. So okay.
All right, bet.
So if everything stands the same way it is, the Timberwolves have the tiebreaker over both teams. The Warriors would come in second, despite the fact they would lose the tiebreaker to the Clippers in the head-to-head. But because it's a 3-way, that's not how it works. And then the Clippers would be the 7th seed. So that's what we're looking at here. That would mean the Lakers would play the Warriors.
I think that's probably going to be the case. It's what the NBA wants. It's what Adam Silver wants. It's what the world wants. LeBron versus Curry. That's what everybody wants.
Yeah, I'd want it more when the stakes are higher, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Do you have anything else to add? This has been our longest show yet.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. So we just got to see what happens tonight, which I think we'll win, and then Sunday, and then playoff time, baby. Let's get going.
Yeah. So we're at 242 subscribers. Appreciate you guys that have subscribed. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're on Twitter right now watching, do us all a favor. Head on over to YouTube. Check out Downtown Lakers and also subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow this thing slowly but surely. Episode 6 in the books. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next Friday.